Reminder, devices, I'll show you, we all play fair here, so there goes mine. I'm going to turn mine off. It takes a while, but it was there. My phone's old. Anyhow, good morning, welcome. Please put devices away. Same warning applies as last time. Good morning, Meredith. Let's take a look at a few quick things before we jump into the main program. Homework reminder, you should have received your email, your ACPCS student email on Campus Clarity. That's what you need to complete. Get the certificate. You can turn that in, you can break out instructor, get full credit for that. Also, I'd like to mention our It's On Us campaign. When I say ours, it's actually your campaign. And so this time I'd like to introduce Lacey Parham. She's been up here one time before. Lacey, it will take just a moment to share some info. I have your prop right here, so let me give you a slide.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Lacey Parham, and as you can see, I am the Board of Students representative and also your student government president. So It's On Us is a campaign. It's designed to raise sexual assault awareness and prevent it and help students like you develop strategies and understand how you can report those things and really deal with them appropriately. So It's On Us comes with Campus Clarity, which is a 60 to 90 minute training program. I'm sure you've all heard a little bit about it thus far. It is designed to be completed quickly. It's fun to take. It's interesting. It's informative. And it opened as of yesterday, I believe, and it must be completed by November 20th. So we urge you to take that as soon as possible, get that out of the way. Fall break is a great time to work on those kinds of assignments and get those done. Make sure you print off your certificate and bring it in as Mr. Dearborn noted. There is a pledge that goes with It's On Us. We are going to start advertising it more, and you'll start to see more and more of this. But It's On Us is a campaign that is very informative. It involves student bodies. We want you all to participate. So we'll be coming out with more information soon on how you can get involved. Look forward to your involvement. So there's a pledge you can take online. Let's see. Dr. Williams sent out an email on this last Monday. And there's a link to the pledge there. We'll be putting out some paper pledges as the announcement goes out. So we just look forward to your participation and thank you for the opportunity to get up and speak about it. It's an honor to be able to lead this campaign with my student government, and it's an honor to be able to share that with you.
All right, thank you, Liz. Also, you'll notice Lacey knows the official deadline, which is November 20th. You can actually access it until then, but for your purposes, you need to have it completed by the 15th for FYE 100. Next.
Just as a note, I'm taking a class for fun. I know that would not blow your mind, but as a student here, I take it as well. So everyone who's a student is going to be asked to take it. So we're all in the same boat together. So now I want to introduce to you Mr. Lewis Nall, and he is the sponsor for today with the Automotive Technology Program. So welcome, Mr. Lewis Nall.
Woo! Are you ready? You good? Oh, I like that. I'm program coordinator over there at the Automotive and Diesel Technology on Southeast. You need to be there. #1 school 2014, top 20, 2015. If you want to go someplace where you can graduate and be guaranteed a job, this is where you need to come. So if you're here today, you're female, undecided, male, I don't care what you are, who you are, anything else, we want you there. And we will train you to do a job that when you graduate from, and right now I have 100% placement of my graduates, you can make anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 a year. That's fresh out of school. Within 3 to 5 years, you can be making up to $100,000 a year. Now, what dictates how much you make is, how much time have I gone? What dictates how much money you make is how hard you're willing to work. This is one of those fields that is diverse. There are tons of opportunities. You can be a mechanic, you can be a manager, you can be a service writer, you can work in parts. I don't care what it is. If it's a vehicle, if you have anything, you can do it. Sound good? Come on, y'all, wake up! College education is something you spend so much money for, expect so little out. But if you're different, if you expect something for your money, come see me over on the automotive side, and I will teach you how to fix cars.
Anybody interested in the brochure?
You want to know more about it? Grab one of these, raise your hand, we'll send it to you.
All right, we have Lewis and Christy handing out some material. If you want to, just raise your hand and they'll come by and drop it off. We have some down front.
Right.
Christy.
Right. Okay, while those are coming around,
Hey, Christy,
our keynote speaker for today. And also, you notice for the first time in the week, since you've seen about 16 personalities on your homework, that's because you've turned it in, and now you're going to hear a little bit about it. Let's welcome Dr. Joe Yazbek to the Counseling Center. Dr. Yazbek. As students in the audience is providing the boo when Charlie Brown walks up on stage.
We've known each other so long, we booed each other. I'm Dr. Joe Yazbek, but I prefer to be called Joe. So if you ever see me around campus, you can just call me Joe. There are reasons that we have people take the 16 personality assessment. And we know that if you're going to go into an occupation, you will be a lot happier and more secure and more fulfilled if you go into an occupation that matches who you are. Not just an occupation that matches your interests. So, you've already taken the 16 personalities assessment. All of you should know what your 4-letter type is at this point. And so you should know whether or not you're an introvert or an extrovert, for example. Those are the two ways that we direct our energy flow. If you are an extrovert, you have a preference for directing your energy outward, away from you, into the outer world. What I'm doing right now is extroverting. I'm walking back and forth, talking with my hands, making eye contact. That's extroverting. If you're an extrovert, you have a preference for socializing or interacting with people in the environment. And you also derive energy from the environment. So if you want to energize, you like to be in a world full of people in dynamic, energizing environments. If you're an introvert, on the other hand, you energize yourself by solitude. You energize yourself not by interacting with the world and the outer world and with other people, but by interacting with your own thoughts, your own feelings, your own emotions, your own inspirations. That energizes you. And you also direct that energy inward, so it's a feedback loop. You energize yourself, and the type of energy I'm talking about is intrapsychic energy. It's the energy that motivates you in the moments of your everyday life. We're not talking about physical energy, but we are talking about the energy that motivates you through the day. And so if you are an introvert, you have a preference for deriving energy from within your own thoughts and ideas and emotions and inspirations. And if you're an extrovert, you energize yourself from interacting with other people. So extroverts, in short, are social people who like to interact with the world, and introverts, on the other hand, they're not antisocial, but they prefer solitude, or just dealing with a small group of intimate friends rather than interacting with any large group at a time. The next letter that you have is either an S or an N, and those are the two ways we perceive the world. If you are a sensor, you perceive the outer world through your 5 physical senses: see, hear, touch, taste, and smell. So if you are perceiving the outer world through your senses, you are perceiving in the here, and the now, and the present. And you're paying attention to facts. You're paying attention to detail. You know what color things are. You know the temperature of the room. You know different kinds of things, and you pride yourself in being an accurate recorder of what the outer world is actually like, because you are actually paying attention to it. If you're an intuitor, on the other hand, you can perceive the world with your eyes closed, because you're not paying attention to that world. This world doesn't matter much out there, because you are perceiving an idealized world in your head. You're perceiving what could be, what should be, what might be, someday, if only, if we change this. So you're not paying attention to the here and the now and the present most of the time. You're usually paying attention to some other place in time, mainly the future, and how we can make it better. If you're an intuitor, your perceptions or your preference for perceiving is to perceive that ideal world. So therefore, instead of paying attention to facts and details and the practicalities of the way things actually are, like the sensors do, you pay attention to theory. You pay attention to meaning. You pay attention to the implications of things and how things fit together to make a big picture. What is the bottom line? But sensors, on the other hand, the opposite of the intuitors, they are up close to the puzzle, putting the pieces in. And a lot of times, they don't step back and see the big picture like the intuitors do. But a lot of times, the intuitors, they aren't putting the pieces of the puzzle in, so they don't pay attention to the facts and details correctly all the time. Those are the two ways we perceive the world. The next letter that you have are the two ways that you reach judgments or draw conclusions or make decisions about what you perceive. If you're a T, when you're drawing conclusions about what you perceive, you're drawing conclusions by prioritizing what is logical, what is reasonable, what is rational, what is scientific, in how to order and structure the world in these logical, reasonable, rational ways. So you come up with tasks that allow you to do that, and you prioritize structure, and you prioritize what's rational and reasonable without too much emotional baggage. You don't like a lot of emotional baggage, you know? But if you're a feeler, you're an F. If you're a feeler, it's not that you don't think about what's logical or reasonable or rational. It's that you filter what's logical and reasonable and rational through a subjective value system about what is right and wrong and good and bad and how it affects people. You are a people person. So the task is important to you, but not as important as how people's feelings are affected by that task. So you're a people person if you're an F. You're kind of a task-oriented person if you're a T. The next letter that you have is either a J or a P. Those are the two different ways we actually deal with the outer world. If you are a J, it means you're a judger. It doesn't mean judgmental, you naughty girl. It doesn't mean that. It means a judger is a person who likes to reach judgment, draw conclusions, make decisions, and get closure on things as soon as possible. That's what a judger does. So in order to do that, they need structure. They need order. They need systems. They pay attention and all that. They get it all done so they can get closure, so they don't feel like they're floundering, and they can move on with their life. Perceivers, on the other hand, they don't need to move on because they're always moving on. You know, they're very flexible, spontaneous, easygoing kind of people. Stop and smell the roses, prop your feet up. Don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. Let it roll off your back a little bit. Perceivers are the easygoing, take it easy kind of people, and because of that, the other word we could use for the P instead of perceiver could be procrastinator. Because P's are big procrastinators. They don't really care about the deadline until it gets here. And then they'll scramble to get everything done that they need to do because that's the way they've always done it. And they do a good job doing that because that's just simply the way their personality works. Now, the reason why we want you to know about those letters for yourself is because those letters directly apply to various occupations. For example, if you're a nursing major and you're working in the hospital, is it better to be an S sensor or an N intuitor? It's probably better to be an S, don't you think? If I'm the patient in the hospital laying in bed and I got a tube coming out of every orifice and a heart monitor on and an IV in, and I'm supposed to have my medicine at 3:02 in the morning, I want my nurse to know it's 3:02 in the morning. They're paying attention to the detail in the here and the now and the present, and that's what sensors do. If I were your nurse, because I'm a very profound N, I'm not paying attention to what time it is. And so here I am at the desk at the nurse's station, and I'm sitting here talking to Tim Dick about what could be, should be, might be, up in pediatrics somewhere. You know, those people, personnel in pediatrics, they ought to fire their boss up there because she won't let them pee without asking permission. I don't Oh my gosh, I was supposed to get you your medicine 5 minutes ago. You see what I'm saying? If you're an intuitor, you're thinking about what could be, should be, might be, someday, somewhere else, and not always paying attention to the present. But you would want your physician to be an intuitor, because they're supposed to step back and look at the puzzle from the distance and come up with a diagnosis and a prognosis. Your doctor, your physician, she's not standing over your bed recording all the facts and the details. The nurse does that. So the physician steps back and says, what does all this mean? How does it matter? What are the implications of this? So the physician really needs to be, it's better to be an N. Does that mean you cannot be a nurse if you're an S? No. But it means that in order to have balance, you need to embrace whatever those four-letter types are, and then practice your opposites so that you can use them when it's necessary. If you're a sensor, practice being intuitive, being visionary. If you're an intuitor, practice paying attention to facts and paying attention to details. Practice your opposite, but embrace who you are. If you are, you can see how some occupations, it's very important to be neat and tidy. In other occupations, they don't care whether you're neat and tidy or not. Like a college professor. Go into most college professors' offices. They're not very neat and tidy. But if you're going to be in a nurse's station, or you're going to be a mechanic, you don't need to be neat and tidy, right? If I stick an S, you got an SJ in the middle of a messy room, it will drive them crazy. Do I have any SJs in here? Raise your hand if you're in. Yeah, I've got some SJs. If I stick an SJ in the middle of a messy room, it will drive them crazy because they're a sensor. They see the mess in the here and the now and the present. They're paying attention to it with their senses. And because they are a J, they need structure and order in their life in order to move on, so they're compelled to clean it up. Most SJs are neat, tidy people, and they'll only allow themselves one place to be messy. The back seat of the car, middle desk drawer, I don't know. But every place else is clean. If I have an NP, though, if I stick an NP in the middle of a messy room, they won't even know they're in the middle of a messy room. Because they're not paying any attention to the mess. Why? Because they're thinking about what could be, should be, might be, someday, somewhere else. They're not paying attention to the mess. They're paying attention to how to make the world better or how they're going to do on the video game 2 hours from now. So, that's why it is very important for you to understand whether your four-letter occupational type matches the occupation you've chosen. And we can do that in Track Central or in the Counseling Center. We can actually show you occupations that match your four-letter type and then take you on a decision-making process that either affirms the occupation you've already chosen and the major you've chosen, or it might make you question it and start you on an exploration process to explore other careers that match you better. Have any questions about any of that? Did I stick within my time limit, sir?
I think so.
All righty.
Hey, let's give Dr. Yazbek a round of applause. Dr. Yazbek, you said about practice your opposite, but what was the first part of that?
Embrace your type.
Embrace your type.
I'm an INFP, so I need to embrace being an INFP. But I need to practice extroverting more, and I need to practice, I'm an intuitor, I need to practice paying attention to more detail and more facts. And I'm an F, so I need to practice being more logical and reasonable and rational, even if it might hurt somebody. As an INFP, I can't fire somebody, because it's going to hurt them, right? So I'll get 10 dick to fire them, so I won't have to. So that's what I mean. Practice your opposites, and that way it gives you a more well-rounded ability to be able to deal with the world.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
One thing I want to emphasize, so when you do these kind of personality tests, you may think to yourself, well, that doesn't seem to really describe me. I remember you used to tell me I was confused.
Yes.
And what I understood later is the idea about embracing. Is if you draw energy from the type that you are.
And suddenly it began to make sense to me as far as where I drew my energy and where things that I found tiring. So let's see what we've learned so far. Here's Meredith, here's me. One of us is an extrovert. Who thinks Meredith is the extrovert? Meredith the extrovert? Okay, how many people think I'm the extrovert? And the rest of you don't want to guess. Well, look at it. Okay, Meredith, you want to tell them what you are?
I'm an extrovert.
Yeah, I'm a heavy introvert on that side, but I practiced the extroversion for some time. But what brings me energy? At the end of the day in the office where I can finish things. I know people, we've had colleagues that the only way they can get their energy is to go out and talk to somebody. And that's, knowing that about yourself is huge. And knowing what you're going to choose for a career, that's why we have to do that. So, thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Meredith, final thoughts before we talk to Meredith.
All right, just personality types, just want to reiterate what Dr. Yazbak said, is whenever it comes to working smart, knowing your personality type is only one part of the equation. It is knowing and trying to figure out what the people who you work with and are in your classrooms with, what their types are as well. I used to work with someone, and hate's a strong word, but we definitely didn't like each other. We really didn't like each other when we had to work on group projects. And come to find out, she was the exact opposite of me. I'm an ENTJ, and so she was the exact opposite of that. So she was an introvert. She focused on the details. She's really focused on feelings, which is my strongest variant. I'm very strong on rationale and logic, and very, very zero on feelings. And she was a perceiver, and I'm a strong J structure person. Once we figured that out about each other, we were able to really collaborate on projects a lot easier because I could make accommodations in my mind for her, and she could make accommodations in her mind for me. And so part of the working smart thing is not just focusing on yourself and knowing what you are, but thinking about what the people around you might be. I'm a strong extrovert, but I also know I work with a lot of introverts, so I will send them emails so they have time to think about things and process their response. Other people who are extroverts on campus, if I need to work with them on a project, I go to their offices and we talk it out because that's how we work best together. So it's not just about your type, it's also about the types of the people you surround yourself with.
I'd also like to add, there's one thing that Meredith and I share, and that's the J. So, of course, we're all about deadlines. That's right. So, when it comes to merit activities, we have students now that cross that boundary. They have all 5 merit activities completed. If you are still lacking in merit activities, you need to take a look at the website. Remember, just go Student Life, Merit Approved. The list is there. There's a lot going on. There's a domestic violence workshop that starts in minutes from now. It counts for merit. A lot of other things this month. You need to plan ahead, get those events. Bring your photo ID so you can get scanned in and get merit credit immediately. With that, we have a winner this week. It's Lou Thompson. Lou, if you'll come up after class, I'll give you your certificate so you can pick up your gear and student records. And otherwise, I'd say let's get them on their way to the breakout.
And your breakout sessions, y'all.
Okay, we'll see you after fall break.